Okay, so there is a large problem within the Trump administration that not many are talking about, this amongst the many conceived problems that people have talked about, and this is to do with his energy policy. And this isn't to do with the America First energy plan, although it is somewhat similar. This is to do with his reinstallment of the Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines. Myself, I'm an avid environmentalist. I'm sure many could tell due to the fact that I've given 2 speeches so far on that. But because of that, I've been following this trend, the fact that Trump has reinstalled those 2 pipelines, or reinstalled the construction, within the last year, or within his term presidency. Now, why does this matter to all of us? Well, in the short term, this may seem okay, right? It's supposed to decrease our dependence on foreign oil and increase jobs within the US. But in the long term, this lays the foundation for going back on the current energy platform, which is to increase green energy and encourages fossil fuel usage. So, a little bit of background. For those of you who don't know, the Dakota Access Pipeline, according to Mary Beth Griggs of Popular Science, is a 1,172-mile pipeline that transfers crude oil at a rate of 470 to 570,000 gallons per day. The supporters claim that it will increase energy independence and it will also increase jobs within the US. However, the opposition is against it due to its interference within the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in North Dakota, and the fact that it's environmentally irresponsible. The Keystone XL pipeline is an addition to the Keystone pipeline, which has already existed, and it is projected to transfer 830,000 barrels of tar sands oil, which is slightly different to crude, and I will get to later, all the way from Alberta to Texas per day, according to Melissa Denchak of the National Resource Defense Council. There are 2 portions, the Gulf Coast portion, which is already constructed and farther south within the US, and then the already existing Keystone pipeline. The Keystone XL was a proposal in 2008 by TransCanada, which was vetoed by President Obama in 2016, only to be brought back by Trump quite recently. Now, one of the main arguments behind opposing both of these is its effect on local populations. First, the Keystone XL pipeline is projected to go through environmentally important and vulnerable areas such as Nebraska's Sandhills and Ogallala Aquifer, according to the NRDC. The Ogallala Aquifer, in fact, provides 30% of America's irrigation water as well as drinking water for millions. So if it were to be contaminated by a pipeline, then it could be quite detrimental to a large population. Additionally, it goes through the First Nations tribes' drinking water, which could contaminate their water. But according to Nicholas Loris of the Heritage Foundation, advocates of the Keystone XL state that many pipelines already go through the Ogallala Aquifer, so what difference could it really make? The Dakota Access Pipeline is what you may be more familiar with, as you may have had a friend checking in from Standing Rock on Facebook and wondered, what does that mean? Well, it's due to the fact that the Dakota Access Pipeline goes under Lake Oahe, which is the main source of drinking water for the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. DAPLFacts.org, however, states that it will be at all points 95 feet or more below the surface or the bottom of Lake Oahe, and therefore the likelihood of it actually spilling is quite thin. But to counter, opponents say that it was originally planned on going through Bismarck, but was delayed due to safety concerns. So they just pushed it off to Lake Oahe instead. So I have to ask you, what do you think of that? If it was delayed due to safety concerns of going through a city, but then put off due to the fact that it would have just gone through a Native American water area. Now, the main benefit of these 2 pipelines, as said by its proponents, is its are their economic advantages. Both pipelines are expected to help us gain energy independence, which is good. This would lower gas prices and energy prices, and it would also increase jobs within the US, or is expected to. My personal opinion on the matter is that green energy will also increase jobs within the US, but that's neither here nor there according to advocates. The Keystone specifically has already created 5,000 construction jobs though, so that is a positive note. And the House of Representatives, according to Brooks Jackson of factcheck.org, has stated that 120,000 more jobs will be created. Now, although the House said that the State Department and TransCanada, the company behind the Keystone XL, have agreed on a figure of 42,100 jobs. And this statistic actually gets lower as those include jobs that are loosely linked to the Keystone XL pipeline. They've both agreed on a figure that's more in the realm of 3,900 temporary construction jobs and only 50 permanent jobs. So realistically, the Keystone XL and the Dakota Access Pipeline are not really that great in terms of job creation. Now this is a leak of tar sands oil, which is what the Keystone XL pipeline is based on. But first, the crude oil. Crude oil is what is run through the Dakota Access Pipeline, and over 1 million barrels of it have leaked within the last 20 years. As you can see, this is an on-land oil spill. Now, most people would think that most oil spills are at sea, like Exxon Valdez or BP, that's what you've heard of. However, according to Yoshioka and Carpenter of the EPA, 66% of all oil spills are inland. 77% of all oil spills over 1,000 gallons are inland, and 88% over 10,000 are inland. So this means that the real problem with oil spills is actually inland ones, not what you would expect. Now, this is, as I said, this is tar sands oil. Tar sands oil is derived from a substance called tar sands, oil sands, or more scientifically, bitumen. Bitumen is the tar sands oil, over its lifetime, creates 17% more emissions than your conventional crude oil, according to factcheck.org. Tar sands oil, additionally, according to the NRDC, leaks 3 times more, hence this picture, and in fact the original Keystone pipeline, leaked 5 times within its first year. Finally, the Keystone XL is projected to add 1.337 billion tons of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Now here's a little slide of all of the inland oil spills in the last few years. As you can see, it's pretty bad, especially in the central United States. So finally, I think that we should lobby our congressman to petition Trump to take back his action on putting forth these 2 oil pipelines, due to the fact that, as you can see, this upward trend of global warming will not cease if we don't put more energy into green energy. So I move that we should petition Congress to stop the construction of these 2 pipelines for our future and for our children's and their children's.